In 2012, flooding in Nigeria, a West African country, affected the lives of over 7.7 million people. 387,152 people were displaced within Africa, and an estimated 363 people died. This flooding was in part due to heavy rainfall, water released from dams with very little notice, and an increase in water in the Niger and Benue rivers. We are here today to discuss ways in which this could have been prevented, prepared for, responded to, and how technology can assist with recovery for these millions of people. While you cannot prevent a natural disaster such as this one from happening, you can prepare for it. Heavy rainfall is predictable, and today's technology can be used to assess the risk and sometimes successfully predict flash flooding. Although they knew that heavy rainfall was coming, Nigeria's infrastructure was not prepared for these floods, and they even had structures blocking waterways and lacked drainage systems. Even if they had perfect flood predictions and better infrastructure, it would not have helped very much, as Nigeria had very little in regards to an early warning system. Those that received warnings did not understand the severity of the issue and ignored warnings to leave their homes. Even worse, one of the main contributing factors to flash floods was the opening of the Lagos Dam in the neighboring country of Cameroon. Cameroon only gave 24-hour notice to the Nigerian government, leaving little time to prepare for a devastating situation. This portion of the flooding was very predictable, as they knew that when they opened the dam, flash flooding would occur. Things that could have been used to anticipate or prevent this widespread damage could be to evaluate the pattern of rainfall from predicted monsoons to know with almost certainty which communities will be hit the hardest. It would also be beneficial to have a way to contact all of those in areas that will be most impacted by flooding. We also believe that Nigeria must focus on fixing their own infrastructure and creating their own dam within the country so they are not at the will of Cameroon. And finally, dam monitoring, as Cameroon should have been watching dam levels more closely and release the water over time.
We feel that technology could have prepared the people of Nigeria for this natural disaster and mitigated damages. The Advanced Spaceborne Thermal Emission and Reflection Radiometer, or ASTER, is technology created by NASA that provides high-resolution images of Earth in many different bands of the electromagnetic spectrum. If used effectively, it can help to predict flood patterns around the world. It is available for free around the world, and the Nigerian government can hire people to analyze the images it provides. While they were able to predict much of the rainfall, they were unable to get information to a majority of Nigerians, and those that received word of the flooding ignored warnings. We believe that the two best ways to access the Nigerian people are through their own town criers and SMS text messaging. If each of these town criers were provided with a cell phone, they would be able to communicate to the Nigerian people warnings of floods and other disasters. This may be more effective than text messaging, as a town crier will be trusted by the people and may be able to convince them to leave the area. Furthermore, there are over 117 million active mobile cellular lines in Nigeria. Cell phones are a clear way to access, alert, and educate the Nigerian people. We recommend a system in which the government sends educational SMS messages to the people of Nigeria year-round. Whether it is educating them in how to safely store their items, how to safely evacuate, or how to safely return to their homes, we believe that these educational messages could help save lives. Once the government is able to connect to all of these people, the system can also be used to send flood warnings and important updates to the people of Nigeria. After such a horrible disaster, we hope that in the future, the Nigerian people will be more receptive to heeding flood warnings.
The best thing to do when considering solutions for others to implement is to listen to the people we are seeking to serve. In this case, that means looking at the current needs, resources, and capabilities in Nigeria. We look to what we can make better that already exists, and only after that do we consider what new things should be introduced.
To document events as they unfold, people can utilize their cell phones to send pictures of what is happening around them and automatically send it to a system that collects these pictures and organizes them based on the GPS satellite location that the picture came from, so response teams can go to the correct place.
The names of safe and unaffected locations could be sent out using SMS text. However, just as there are hurricane evacuation routes in the U.S., if possible, there should be flood evacuation routes pre-prepared in Nigeria, and this information should be distributed to the areas most likely to be impacted.
As for financial help, with today's technology of online banking, money should be easily transferable from any country or organization, such as from the United States to Nigeria. In dealing with looting, stores should be equipped with security systems that alert law enforcement to get to that location promptly.
The best way to plan and coordinate for food and other resources is to have Nigeria create an online platform that determines and presents information on how much food needs to be sent to affected areas based on population demographics. This forum can be universally accessible for all relief organizations so that they can see and collaborate on contributions to these affected areas.
Media is also an important factor in raising awareness and gaining support for affected communities. Providing video and picture footage of what's happening, as well as testimonies of the affected people and what relief responders are doing, garners support for more to get involved.
In the months following the flooding in Nigeria, hundreds of thousands of people were displaced from their damaged or destroyed homes. Technology can be used to support these victims and Nigeria as a whole in the months and years after the disaster. We believe that for reconstruction, crowdfunding may be a viable solution. Crowdfunding is the process of funding a project by raising small amounts of money from an extremely large amount of people. If a crowdfunding platform can be accessed by Nigerians through the internet or cell phones, they can post online the supplies and costs associated with rebuilding and repairs so that people around the world can contribute towards their supply costs and overall funding goal. Online forums can also be used to ask for construction help and volunteers. In times of need, there are many people that want to help victims of disasters but are unable to make monetary contributions. These people can contribute their skills and time instead.
A site similar to Airbnb, a website where individuals can rent lodging from other people who happen to have space in their homes or apartments, would be useful in assisting those that are attempting to start new lives while being unable to return to their homes. If a site like this were implemented in Nigeria but with minimal prices for housing, those with space available in their homes can welcome guests to stay for a specified amount of time. These victims can then focus on rebuilding their lives while having temporary accommodations for free or minimal costs. We believe that our proposed solutions would still be applicable to future disasters, and therefore, as long as there are people that update and maintain these systems, they would still exist and be useful in other disaster scenarios.